Welcome to Luca. 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 Welcome to Luca.
Hello and welcome to the FilmEU talk. My name is Felix and today we will be discussing the challenges small film industries face, how can a local market gain a global audience, and what does it mean for film students and young filmmakers like yourself. Welcome to this FilmEU talk. In our studio today we have all the way from Bulgaria Diana Andreeva. She's the director of the Observatory for Cultural Economics. And next to her we have Tim Martens, and you are a Belgian film producer. But we're going to start with you, Diana. Can you explain what that is, the Observatory for Cultural Economics it is, and what you do there?
The Observatory of Cultural Economics is a non-profit organization in Bulgaria. We are doing a research in the field of cultural economics and in the field of financing of culture. So we try to change the Bulgarian policy according to the nowadays situation. We are trying to make a research about the economical impact of cultural and creative sector, especially in the cultural and creative industries. We're calculating the economical impact according to the classical economics indicators like value-added at factor costs, employment and the number of employment, number of organization and production companies within the cultural and creative sector, and also the foreign direct investments in the field. So with this research, basically about the economical impact of the sector, we did the application form for the Sofia to become a creative city film in UNESCO network of creative cities in 2014. So now for 10 years we are part of the global cluster of UNESCO, I mean the Bulgarian film industry.
Okay, so it's broader than film alone what you do, it's the whole of culture in Bulgaria, I think. But we're talking about film, especially today. Can you enlighten us on what the Bulgarian film sector is like? Is it big? Is it booming? Is it or is it kind of small? How is it with the Bulgarian film sector these days?
Our research is from 2008 to 2022, and I could say for the past 15 years, the film industry in Bulgaria doubled the economical results, doubled the produced movies, and also the employment in Bulgarian film industry. So I can say in digits, like from 400 production companies to more than 1,000 production companies in the small market, like in Bulgarian film industry. Also, we are calculating the economical impact, as I said, and from 23 million euro to 77 million euro is the value added of Bulgarian film industry. So it's impressive result for a small market, as I said. And our local film industry is connected to the global film cluster of UNESCO. This is one of the reasons, and the other reason is the technical market, the sub-market of Bulgarian film industry, because we have a audiovisual cluster. 80 to 100% of organization and companies are in Sofia, and we're connected to the TV market, to the advertisement market as well. So this is a huge spillover effect that we are calculating within this audiovisual cluster in Sofia. So this is the reason that we have huge impact in the past 10 years. After the COVID, of course, and during the COVID crisis, we observed, let's say, the negative effect for 2-3 years, and also some problems with the legislation that we have and the law for Bulgarian film industry in the past 4 years. But hopefully, as a part of the global cluster, we has to be, let's say, in power to overgo with these problems that we have.
And a growing film market in Bulgaria, does that mean that Bulgarians are watching a lot of Bulgarian cinema, or is it still difficult to compete on bigger markets like the US? Maybe?
This is very tough question, because this is the biggest problem, I think, not only in Bulgaria but across European Union. That's why we did the research with the European Commission about the global production network and the 5 phases that we are observing. Basically, is their creation, production, distribution, exchange,
I think
and
we have
archiving.
some slides you brought with
Yes.
us. Can we maybe get the slide of the GPN
And
to make it clear?
we wanted to see just on which phase the independent producer is losing the power, and on which phase the public money that are going mostly to European cinema is going on a global level through the streaming platforms. And yes, our project is under Horizon 2020. This is the project of European Commission. Together 9 countries, we tried to tackle with this completely new methodology, appeal to and apply to culture and creative industries, but in particular in the film industry. So we used as a case study Class Film is the name of the production company. It's an independent company with many co-productions and partners across European Union. And we try to see, first one, the sustainability of independent producer. And then, as I said, where the independent producer is losing the power. And this is on the level of distribution and exchange, especially competing with the streaming platforms and the global TV channels that are operating in the European Union. And the second one, what we discovered on the level of production is that in the independent producers in European Union, they're competing with these huge streaming platforms like Netflix or Amazon as the producers. And we're trying, and now a European Commission is building the new policies on certain phases of the global production network as a financial instruments, as a certain regulations, because we don't have strict regulations still about the streaming platforms. And one indicator that's important, how many subscribers do we have in European Union? But in also the problem is about the profit and the income for this platform, and how part of the income could go directly to the European Union countries. Okay. And also archiving, we put it in the global production network, because from archiving sometimes we are starting the new business models also, and the producers could gain a new income for the companies and for the new productions.
Well, we have an independent producer, as you speak of, next to us, Tim.
Yeah, one of those.
Well, Tim, you are a Belgian producer. Could you maybe explain, for the people who don't know, what do producers actually do in the film industry?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, as a producer, I think you're the central person in the whole production process. So on the one side, you're the person who is looking for the financing of the project, of course. So as a producer, you have access to the local funds, the local schemes, the tax rebates, etc. You also know the potential partners you involve in the distribution. You have the contacts with the broadcasters, the networks, the streamers. And on the other hand, you are also you have the overview of the production process. So you're in contact with the creatives, with the director, the screenwriter. You have a line producer who is overviewing the whole production process. So one would say that you're, I think, the spider in the web. You're the central person in the whole process. And also from the very beginning, from the idea, the moment the director or the script writer comes with an idea, or you develop an idea with those people, up to the distribution and you know, the very the end of the process. So I think, yeah, you're like the central person in the whole production process.
Okay, and going on the topics that we discussed with Diana, do you feel as an independent producer in a European market that you are losing power to those giants like Netflix, to Amazon,
it's a good question.
the American markets?
I think a huge challenge that we are facing, I think, at the moment, because we are coming from a very different model of financing and your productions. So you have this classical financing model where, as a producer, you try to find funding in your local territory, like public funding, pre-sales to broadcasters, etc. and you try to involve other territories to finance your project. So, and you use certain territories for the financing of your film or series or whatever you're making. And there's also a life afterwards. You know, the territories that you do not include in your financing, there are possible revenues afterwards. So that's the classical financing model for films and also series up to like 10 years ago, up to the come of the global streamers, because that's a very different model. And when you work with a global streamer, which we also do, you use all the rights. You sell all the rights to the global streamer, to the global player, and you have to make your money out of the production because there are no revenues anymore afterwards. So it's a completely different model. And the real threat is what you see happening now. Is the global streamers are going directly into contact with the creatives. They hire script writers, director, talent. It's a big challenge.
Well, the question is that something we should fear? Because you can argue that big streamers like Netflix and everything are putting more money into film production, or is that a wrong way of looking at it in your...
They're competing with the independent producers,
Yeah.
and they're competing in different levels, not only in production and distribution, but also when you're hiring the whole team, the Netflix payment is sometimes several times bigger than the independent producer could organize for the film production. And it's, how to say, you cannot survive and you cannot see the sustainability anymore of independent producers easily on this European market with such a huge players like Netflix or Amazon, due to the labor payment, of course, and the huge competition that we have on European market. I think that the European Commission should think of strict regulation on each phase of the activities of these global platforms, not only distribution, and the content now is 30% of Netflix has to be European movie and European film industry, but on the level of production and competing with our independent producers, because the situation in Bulgaria and Belgium with the independent producers is everywhere across Europe, is the same.
Yeah, and is a matter to resolve this? Should European smaller industries like Belgium, like Bulgaria, look at each other and cooperate, co-produce? Is this where the answer lies in every... Tim?
Well, I think that this co-production model still exists, so it still exists next to the global players. I think, the venue of Netflix and the global streamers, was not too bad in the very beginning, because suddenly we had an extra exploitation window, which we could sell, and also, we come a little bit out of a bubble, because there was suddenly a competition between global players. You had Amazon, Netflix, Disney, all coming into the market, and they all wanted to sell monthly subscriptions. So that was so they commissioned a lot of films and series, etc. But when you look nowadays, now the market has stabilized a little bit. They are very because in Belgium, I think Netflix commissions, I think maybe one or two series a year, so that's it. That's
Belgian
what they invest.
series that they
how
invest
many
in.
do you know? So it's I can name 2 or 3, I think, which are original Netflix, entirely commissioned by them for the local market. So it exists, the spending obligation that you're talking about. So when they come into our market, they have to reinvest part of their money back into the local production. So that exists, but I think this could be handled more on a European level. I think that's one thing, and the spending obligation should be broader than just the global streamers. I think, because the real threat is probably the YouTubes, the TikTok, all this Google, the big tech companies, because they're also distributing local content, and they're paying
Content and not movies per se.
well, content in
Yeah.
general. So and there are voices and initiatives also here to force also those players who distribute local content to reinvest in local production. I think that's very important. I think to save local production.
All right, maybe we can have a look at something. We're gonna look at a trailer of a film that you co-produced recently, so that we can also look at the beautiful side of European cinema and what it can bring.
Good.
It's from the film Luca.
Thank you.
Name's Luca, sir. Academy, sniper. Ready for combat, sir.
Constantine, second lieutenant. You're the first thing to show up here in ages. Here is Kairos. Here is our northern defense line.
Your thirst is our thirst.
Any man approaching Kairos from the north must be eliminated.
The wind is rising.
The enemy is ferocious, boy.
All right, looks like an exhilarating project. And this was co-produced with like 5 countries.
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. So that's the reason why I
Yeah.
brought it. It was actually a co-production with Bulgaria. When I heard you were in the panel, I thought let me bring a co-production with Bulgaria. This was a co-production with 5 countries. It was initiated in Belgium. It's a majority Belgian project. We co-produced with the French-speaking part of Belgium. We are in the ability to co-produce within our own country, so that's it's a nice thing. Bulgaria, it was the Netherlands, and Italy. It was entirely shot in Italy. So this film is a good example how most of the films in Europe still are produced. So co-production between local territories. But as you say, I think this model is at stake at a certain point. So because
well, there are new views to look at European and smaller film industries cooperating, not necessarily co-producing. I want to go over to you, Diana, with the film cities. Can you explain about the cooperation of film industries on a smaller level in that way?
I think we have a slide.
Yeah, we have a slide
with the map
that you
of Creative City network of UNESCO. This is the logo of Sofia, and this is the map that.
We're seeing a lot of cities here.
Yes, we have 26 cities in 4 continents in Europe and European Union. You could see 14 of them, and they're totally different. From Sofia and Bitula, Sarajevo, Cluj in eastern part of non-developed film market, to Mumbai with Bollywood, to Qingdao with the Vanda Studio, the Chinese film industry, the biggest studio of Chinese film industry, Busan with the famous and the biggest market of film industry and film festival. And also you can see in the western part of the European continent the cities like Cannes, Potsdam with Babelsberg and Berlin Festival. So it's we have different topics within this network, different scale of cities, and developing of the market and the film industry. But I think this is a huge chance for a country like Bulgaria and Sofia in particular, because at first I mentioned that 100%, almost 100% of film industry in Bulgaria is concentrated in Sofia. So this is the symbolic capital of our city and our capital. And also for us it's important to see different policies, different projects that we could participate. And for instance, one topic, a hot topic, let's say, is artificial intelligence. We have a working group within the cluster about the artificial intelligence. We have also a huge project about the audience development. And the topic of Sofia now is the audience development, the creative fund for debuts, for instance, for the first movie of students and young directors, and also cinema clubs in every school and every university. And also one initiative that is necessary to have it in Bulgaria is the cultural passports from 6 to 26 years old. So with €50 annually, youngsters, the students could attend cinema, European and national movies, and also could participate in certain cultural activities. And yes, to be in this global cluster, because we have in Sofia a local cluster of audiovisual industry, it's a great challenge, because we can have an exchanges among the cities. We can have, as I said, the common project, a particular parts of the festivals across the network.
These are a lot of festivals come.
Yes, and this is also very important distributional channel and source for the movies, and especially from small scale film industry markets. So that's why this is also very important to be part of this global cluster. And as I said, we have from one point the biggest markets, like in India, Mumbai, one of the biggest film locations, like Ouarzazate in Morocco, for instance, with Gladiator and such productions, and the small markets, because we all need to go in the same direction. We all have the same problems. We tackle some of them in our conversation, but yes.
I can't help but notice this is locations and cities all over the world, in all continents except North America, and it's kind of uniting. I wouldn't say against North America, but in a way it is.
I cannot say that we are against,
no,
but we have problems, because, for instance, the box office in Bulgaria is 85% American movies to 15 European and national content. In European Union, we have 60%, 65% some years American movies, and 30% of European movies and national film industry. So this is important to have something opposite to American movies. And this cluster is one way how to organize the film industry and to give space for the rest of the film industry markets in the global level, I could say, because we are not only European cities.
Okay, I think one of the most difficult questions and challenges is, how do you get a local audience to go to local cinema? And maybe Tim, if you make Belgian movies, how do you make a Belgian audience go to it? Are there strategies? Are you just having to hope that people will go and see it?
Absolutely. I think it's one of the most important things I think you have to keep in mind is your audience. From the very beginning of your project, from the very first idea, you have to know, who is your audience, and you have to define it quite precise, I think. And yeah, it's during the project till the distribution. We invest, of course, a lot in to reach the audience, not only in publicity, but also, trying to set up impact and campaigns and so. But you have to work. You have to invest in it, and of course, it's a difficult fight, because the P&A budgets of American or productions are multiple times. I don't know how much they spent on advertising campaigns, but it's huge. So you have to.
Yeah, does it all come forth because of the money? Is that the main factor? That
Well,
just fighting an unfair battle in a
it
way?
has a big impact, of course. You can imagine if you see everywhere, trailers and posters and advertisement. It makes sense that this has a huge impact, but I'm not that pessimistic. It's not easy, but you see once in a while this local films that suddenly explode and reach 800,000 people in Flanders, for example. It happens. We have very nice examples in the last few years.
Could it also come from the subjects films are about, movies are about, that maybe in Europe we still make more kind of a art house cinema and not the big blockbusters and the more popular cinema? Is that also a reason?
For sure. I think I think there's a market for both, and both are made as well. But
how do you get people to get interested in culture? And that's maybe a question I can ask you. How do you, for instance, with young people, how do you get them to engage in culture, maybe even broader than film? That's a difficult thing, I can imagine.
The problem with the youngsters, because we have sociological research about the audience and how they're attending the cultural activities, and in particular film industry. Around 50% of the group, the age group of from 18 to 24%, never been on the past year in the cinema. So this is a huge problem. And their usual channel for the movies is the internet, the platforms, and the TV channels. And in TV channels, for instance, in Bulgaria, you don't have so huge content of European and Bulgarian movies. This is one of the problems. That's why we insist to have these cinema clubs for a European and national movie in every school, in every university. It doesn't matter if it's business university or not, because we need to organize, not is the right word, but to build a value model of the audience and habits. We have 2 generations without habits to watch European and national movies. This is the reality, especially in our country. That's why I said that the box office is like divided 85% to 15 European and national content. And this is a huge problem, I think, because this is a different cultural model that we have through the American movies. I cannot say it's bad or good, but it's different. And in Europe and European Union, we have we said that it's over-regulated, I mean the audiovisual sector, but we need to build the new policies across European Union for the audience. We have a different culture and different values. That's why our movies are a little bit slower, art house movies. So you need different habits and culture to watch such movies.
All right. We also have a third guest, but he's not with us today, not even in the same country. No, is he not ready yet? Okay. Well, we have a guest who is joining later, but he's in Thailand, so we have to make a video connection. But he's getting ready still. Or is he? He's an actor, a well-known Belgian actor.
Yeah.
And maybe we have him on the line. All right, we're gonna go later to him because he's a.
No.
Oh, he is here.
Ik ben er.
Hi, Axel. We can hear you in the studio. Well, now we can see you. Hi.
Hi.
Well, Axel Dassler. For the people who don't know him, he's an actor in Belgium and also a television maker. But you're in Thailand right now.
Yes, on a holiday.
All right. Is it
a well-earned holiday? I try to put myself in the middle, but it's not so easy. Yeah, okay. Voilà.
All right, how is Thailand at the moment?
Pretty hot, 28 degrees Celsius, and we're like in the beginning of the night now.
All right. We were talking in the studio here about, at the moment, how can film markets, but also television markets from Belgium, smaller markets, Bulgaria as well, reach a local audience and compete with the big giants like Netflix, like American television, American films. How can you get your own people to be interested in the films and the movies that you make? A very difficult question, but we would like to have your takes on that as well.
Well, I don't think it's so difficult. I think people are always looking for content, and the content we try to make is connected to what they know in their own culture, and that's what keep on attracting audience, I think, is to be authentic as much as possible, because there's a lot of not only fake news, but I think you mentioning Netflix, I have Netflix, but I seldom watch it because I don't think all those series are quite that interesting as people say. And that's what we try to do, is to bring original, authentic and interesting content. Yeah. I think that will make survive smaller audiences or smaller countries like Bulgaria or Belgium.
Well, and for the people who don't know the shows that you make, what kind of content do you make, or television are you talking about, for instance?
Well, it's quite I do quite different things. I do a mixture between human interest, game shows, and entertainment.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I've been an actor for many years, but the shows that I do now is Axel gaat binnen, in Dutch means Axel enters, something like that. Mm-hmm. Is about institutions where you don't easily come in, where we show the arena during 5 days, in which I stay over to sleep. And it's, in that way, I'm much more like integrated in the whole scene. And I'm a participant, not someone who's coming on the sideline and judging or commenting the way people work, or the people that are there for a kind of treatment or whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And that, I think that's a big difference. The game shows is like it's an international one. It's called Hunted in Dutch Klopjacht. We did now a celeb version. But I also do Eenmaal Andermaal, which is like a kind of antique roadshow on the road, something like that.
Yeah, we were also talking.
Very different things.
We were also talking in the studio about smaller industries, film industries, and television industries working together in Europe, for instance, co-productions and everything. Have you a lot of experience with co-productions in other countries?
Well, co-productions in the way that the in-line production is always done by the country we're filming, and I've been happy to be working in Bulgaria for 2 times already. Once first in 2006 and 2007 for as an actor. We did Matrushkas in Bulgaria, and that was a very nice experience. And the advantage of working with local companies, production companies in Bulgaria, is that they are used to huge Hollywood productions, because there's a lot of movies made in Bulgaria from the Hollywood scene, because it's cheaper to film there, of course. But so they're used to work in those kind of big productions, and that the professionalism was very. We enjoyed that. We saw that there was a lot of competence.
How would you describe?
Yeah.
How would you describe Bulgarian cinema and Bulgaria? Maybe not the cinema itself, but the way of working in Bulgaria to like a Belgian way of working. They're both small industries. Is it similar?
Well, it's not that different, I think. I mean, a crew is a crew. Everybody knows they have to do. Everybody's got his own specific jobs and tasks. So it's always been a fluid machine. Also, the last time I was there was for a new game show called The Unknown, Het Onbekende. Was also in Bulgaria. We traveled around, and of course, the line production was also Bulgarian. And the way they work is actually quite similar to what we do in Belgium. But don't forget that the cinema industry or television or making fictional series and drama, the last 30 years, we really got developed an industry that was not there before. So that makes it that it has a very professional character.
All right. So I presume that you, if you get the chance, would like to go and work with Bulgarians again. It was a positive experience.
Oh, definitely. I love Bulgaria. I've been there several times in between, so I got to learn it in 2006 with Matryoshki, but then I came back like 5 or 6 times with friends and also with my art ensemble called Adamova. We did 2 expositions there, and I even read out of my own poetry book at the University of Sofia, because there's a Dutch course that they're learning Dutch in Sofia, and there's like 20 or 30 students following it. I don't know what's the reason, but it was a kind of open class, and it was fun to do.
All right. Okay, good. Then we are enlightened on what you think about Bulgaria and what you think about the topic we're talking about today. But for now on, I will leave you in Thailand instead of Bulgaria, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your vacation. Thank you for being with us, Axel.
Okay, my pleasure. Enjoy them.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
All right. That was Axel Dazelere and what he had to say about it. It was positive about Bulgaria, I see. Well, now we can maybe let the audience, because we have a live audience today, ask some questions to our 2 experts. Is there anyone in the audience that has a question for our 2 experts, any of them? I see a young lady behind Tim who would like to ask a question.
Yeah, I have a question for Tim. As a producer yourself, do you advise students or new producers to sell their rights to streamers or like Netflix and such? Because I heard a lot about producers struggling after losing the rights to their own films. But do you recommend it as someone who wants to get global with their works?
Very good question, I think.
Yeah, very good question, relevant question. Not a clear answer. It's not my preferential partner, I would say. When you start financing a project, I prefer to finance it in another way. That does not mean that you do not involve them in your financing plan, because you can work with Netflix and global streamers also in a different way. You can also treat them as a kind of co-producer and sell certain territories or certain windows to them. And that's what we quite often do as well. So we have, for example, first window locally, and we sell a second window to them, or just a territory. We keep our own territory or the territories of the co-producers, and we sell the rest of the world, etc. So there are different kind of combinations, I think, possible also with the global streamers. To sell your whole project to a streamer, I'm not a big fan, because it undermines a bit your position and as a producer and the possibilities you have with the project afterwards.
Yeah, it's probably also hard when you write a show or you want to make a show, and then suddenly a giant like Netflix is interested. I think it's like winning the lottery. You could ask, but maybe it's not that good as it seems. Do you think about it the same way?
I could say it depends. If the European Commission introduced the new legislation about the streaming platforms, and especially the rights of the creators, producers, yes, you can work with Netflix. But in this case, I could imagine that the better way is to have a rather European platform or a national platform, not Netflix.
Is there another question from the audience, maybe from someone else who has a burning question on their lips? I can't really see behind me, but okay, because I already have one. Or do you have another one? This lady has a lot of questions.
To see if someone else needed to ask. Yeah, I have a question for Diana, because you kept talking about how the market is now mostly American films. Do you have any idea or advice for young producers on how to possibly de-Americanize the European film industry or market?
You mean to make commercials like the American movies?
Maybe more like to build towards the future, to kind of expel the American content from Europe and focus on just European film.
I will not suggest such a line, let's say, or a perspective of for young film directors and producers, but what we are doing in the global cluster of UNESCO and especially in Sofia is to create a creative fund for support of young filmmakers, students as well, because I think they're in a huge competition, and it's nowadays it's even bigger than before. Because of the new role of Netflix and the platforms as a producers, but I will suggest also for a huge exchange among the European countries of young directors, producers, and also students. That's why FilmEU and this cluster of universities is something really well organized in the sense of what European Commission should do and support. And I think the movement and exchange among these universities could help for the non-developed markets and non-developed film industries and young directors, of course, and producers.
We're giving out some tips to young filmmakers and directors and students. Tim, as a producer, if you're a young filmmaker, you have ideas, how do you get your finance for films? What are the steps you need to take?
Well, yeah, I think find a producer, I would say. that's
one, yeah.
Most of the time the first step. Huh? So those ideas come to, it's often a director, a scriptwriter who pitches an idea to us, and then together with the producer you can start going into the market and try to find financing. Huh? So that's the way it generally works. But I think, yeah, your network is important, I think. Yeah? So I see a lot of people in film school, and you know, when you're working together in film school, you know, those are the people that you will meet the rest of your life. Hey? So this is the base of your network, and I think that's very important. And also as a young producer, for example, I think it's important to have the access to the talent, and then I would recommend to go into this kind of producers programs. Huh? So that works also
producers
a lot.
Programs.
Yeah, you have a lot of in co-production markets and on festivals, etc. You have programs like EAV, etc. So kind of training programs so to enlarge your network. Eh? So it's there where you meet other producers and can connect, and where you make the base of a collaboration. Huh? So that's how it often goes. And I think I would recommend the same for young directors and scriptwriters. Go out there and make your network. Yeah?
On film festivals, but how important are film festivals for the sector in Europe and like smaller industries over the world?
Yes, of course. That's why I mentioned that we have cities with the biggest festivals in Europe, like Cannes, Valladolid, Potsdam with Berlin, and etc., Sarajevo. And also this is alternative distribution for the film industry. And also for the short movies, very rare, they have a chance, especially for the short movies of young film directors and producers. Very rare they have a chance to be on a TV channels and on certain platforms. So this is a distribution window for the young film professionals. And also one thing that Alex mentioned, that he was in Bulgaria because our biggest studio during the communism, the state studio, was privatized by American company. But I will suggest that the young directors and producers, scriptwriters, will not be exploited by the transnational companies, but build their own independent business. This is the model of European film industry, and we have to build a new ecosystem of European film industry to protect the people and students from university, to be in the independent producers, and to have more support on certain phases of global production network that are not enough funded until now.
All right. Maybe to end this, I would like to ask you what you think the future is going to be like. That's a very difficult question, no one can answer, but how do you see the future, Tim, of maybe European cinema? But we can look at it broader, but that's more of your profession, European cinema, maybe?
Well, yeah, it's a good question.
Where is it going?
I don't have a clear answer, of course. So I think we have been talking about this co-production model, and we have talking about global streamers, etc. I think that traditional model will disappear. I think. I think we will evolve to a global content market. I think. That does not mean that co-production and collaboration will not. Will cease to exist. I think the future is in creative collaboration. People bringing in and co-producer bringing in talents and bring them together. I think we evolve to a global content market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've mentioned disappearing of you mean cinemas maybe, and like. Yeah, people have been saying that for years, of course.
I wouldn't say that. I'm not sure if cinemas will disappear. Of course, we have seen changing the exploitation windows a lot, and so this is not a traditional model anymore, where you go first to the cinema and then see it on TV and then on a platform. But so that's changing entirely. But I don't think they will cease to exist. I still believe in. Watching together a movie, I think, is a fantastic thing. Yeah.
You believe the same? Or how do you see the future of cinema?
I said already that I would like to imagine a new ecosystem in Europe and European Union, how to preserve the European culture and values, and to have a new model of financing and regulations. Because these tough questions that we have with and tough problems with the global streamers, they depend on the regulation and legislation level. So this means that the new ecosystem, as I said, needs a support and financing of each phase of the global production network, and especially for young directors and producers on the phase of creation and production, and also distribution, which is the main gap, let's say, in the EU film policy now.
All right, that's very clear. Well, I would like to thank both of you for making a lot of time to be here. You, especially from Bulgaria, but you were staying in Belgium for a while, or are you going back soon to Bulgaria?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning?
Yes.
Okay. I hope you have a nice flight in that case.
Thank you.
Also, Tim, would like to thank you very much for being here, the audience as well, for listening to these two amazing people and talking with us about the future of film. And also thanks to FilmEU, of course, for hosting this FilmEU talk, Experts on Air. And I hope to see you next time on a FilmEU talk.